Y'all know it's wild. Yesterday, something happened to me that's never happened before. I managed to get the fabled double 5-star in a 10-pull in Wuthering Waves. Genshin player since day one? Never. Star Rail player since day one? Never. ZZZ, fucking, hey, forget about it in that game. It's never gonna happen. Log into Wuthering Waves once every like 3 months to play the main story, do a random 10 pull, and here we are. But before anyone asks if I'm gonna cover this game, the answer is probably not. Look, the only thing keeping me still playing the game after a brutal start, not brutal as in, performance, brutal as in, nigga, I lost the first like 4 50-50s in a game off rip. My nigga, we can't have a productive relationship if you're taking everything from me and giving me nothing. We need equilibrium, yeah. So after that, I sort of just dropped the game, but still log in, every other patch to play the main story, which I find to be quite interesting on a surface level. I don't delve into the lore. When it comes to that game, am an NPC. I don't do side quests, I don't explore, hell, I don't do endgame, that's nuts for me, because I love me a challenge, man. I mean, the gacha game challenges are a bit too artificial for my taste, but I mean, look at Genshin, clear! Star Rail, triple clear! ZZZ, triple clear! Literally, I log in, play the story I missed, log off. Don't read nothing, don't think too much about it. And recently, the stories ain't been too bad, Shorekeeper, and especially this Camellia quest were actually pretty good. I was sitting here at the end of the quest like, I ain't write this shit, bro, but as you can see, it's a calm and peaceful existence for the hour or so the quests take. Speaking of calm and peaceful, let's talk about hate, because just the other day I was doing dumbbell Bulgarian split squats, and I was just thinking between sets how much I fucking hate dumbbell Bulgarian split squats, and it hit me. Where is hate in Genshin Impact? And by that I mean, who in Genshin Impact hates who? Fair warning, this video is going to sound a little, Emperor Palpatine-esque. Now, some might just be going, well, everyone hates the heavenly principles and the abyss. And I mean, yeah, kind of sure, but these two sort of abstract concepts are the de facto most hated entities, for lack of a better word. But that's the problem. Is there more concepts to me? I mean, the heavenly principles were quite literally said to have been androgynous and born from an egg. This is unlike anything we've ever seen in teyvats. It isn't relatable. We've never seen them, we've never heard them. Not yet, anyway. When one hates the heavenly principles, it feels akin to simply hating the natural order of this world. They hate the rules set up by the heavenly principles, so they in turn hates the heavenly principles. And even then, hate might be pushing it, because the heavenly principles' biggest opposition was directly asked if she hated the heavenly principles. She didn't give the cleanest yes.
We just don't know when that will be, or what might trigger it. You could say that. Just look at Kari Bear. He was so pure and single-minded. The space we now find ourselves is a perfect representation of who he was. Quiet and peaceful. Even as a hilly churl, seeing the terrible sight within the mirror wasn't enough to taint his spirit. He brought comfort to the people of this world, even though he was denied the very right to be a part of it. So ask yourself this. Who was it that deprived him of that right to exist? Of course, that's only one example. My feelings about the heavenly principles are too complicated to explain in just a few words.
Now, as for the abyss, this is, you're quite literally hating a concept. And what I mean by that is, yes, the abyss is destructive in nature. That's its nature. No difference than a tornado or tsunami that also brings destruction. And while there has been some hints the abyss does indeed have some method to the madness,
our tribe's waters were contaminated. The Children of Echo's territory was overrun by dangerous sludge surging from underground. Unrelenting black winds tore across the lands of the Flower Feather clan. It was like each disaster was designed for a specific tribe. Exactly. We once thought that the Abyss's desire for destruction was a sort of primal instinct, but its methods are, in truth, marked by intelligence.
Ultimately, the Abyss is just that. The Abyss. And while yes, people hate it, due to it lacking any real form or even to this day explanation, having these two concepts, the heavenly principles and Abyss, be the driving factors of hate and conflict makes it tough to relate to the story, as they aren't personal antagonists. Look, the Void Realm has been here since the beginning. Directing your hate towards it would be like if we all of a sudden in the real world just decided to make fucking tornadoes our main enemies, wage war against the tornadoes, because both the Abyss and the Heavenly Principles lack human qualities. They don't engage me in the same way a more personal antagonist might. We know the Abyss to be destructive, we know the Heavenly Principles to be restrictive, but the abstractness makes it difficult for me to truly hate them. They're forces to be challenged or resisted, rather than enemies to despise. This is especially true when they lack a clear, recognizable face or coherent motivations that can make their actions feel like direct threats to the people who just hate them. My friends, in stories, we usually expect our foes to be relatable on, some level, even if it's just understanding their motives, however twisted or flawed, but by not giving us a personal villain, we have a story that's more philosophical and thematic. The Abyss and the Heavenly Principles, they're just broad concepts: chaos, order, control, resistance. Without the personal vendetta-fueled drives we typically associate with hatred. Now, for the overarching story, honestly, I think it comes down to preference, how you prefer it's done. You could prefer the Genshin route, where it's more, thematic, or you could prefer, fucking like Hercules, where you're just fighting against Hades. But here's my problem, is this lack of hate extends to the vast majority of characters' personal relationships as well. Now, yes, some hatred does exist in some relationships, and there is one notable exception that at this point is just so cartoony, we'll talk about him later. Rather, what the game seems to lean on is strained relationships. And look, there are instances where this makes sense, like Kaya and Diluc. I think it makes sense there. And then there are instances where it doesn't, like Raiden A and the entire fucking nation of Inazuma. She was a dictator who closed off the border. No one in, no one out. She would publicly do whatever the fuck this was with Toma, and as a result of her actions, a civil war broke out due to her stripping people of their power. She was so brazen, she deigned to even execute a random civilian out in the open. Yet, when this all came to a head, what happened? Nothing. She was a shogun who ruled like a tyrant and got away with it, which honestly, I don't think is bad. I don't think that's bad. The fact that she faced no repercussion or consequences for her actions, I think makes sense, because she's a god. Who's gonna punish her? But you know what this should beget amongst her people? Hatred. Putting aside the fact that when she was just this full-blown tyrant, this lack of hate was still abundant. I mean, it literally felt like whenever we interacted with anyone about what was going on, it was just, well, that's just the Raiden Shogun, all about eternity and taking our visions. It's a bitch, but that's life. Ayaka's voice lines about her are, man, fuck me. It's a mix of her just avoiding the subject completely, all while sucking us off.
The Almighty Shogun? It would be improper of me to comment, given that I am one of her subjects. All I will say is that I think that Her Excellency must get lonely on the road to eternity. To witness the Muso no Hitotachi and live to tell the tale is quite a remarkable feat. Even though I recognize her as our true deity with the power to change Inazuma's fate at will, if there is a conflict between the two of you, then I shall choose to side with you.
What are you talking about, you stupid bitch? I mean, other dictators in the real world, they would have, they would have took him out back. And let's just be honest. I mean, these people of Inazuma are just evidently the most understanding of their ruler I've ever seen. They ain't hate her when she was crushing them. They ain't hate her after. Can anyone find me an example of this in the real world where a dictator was just making a country their bitch and then just decided to let up just a little, and the response was so overwhelming from the people, they were just, taste my milk! Taste my milk! Taste my milk! Hey, shout out my nigga Goro.
The Raiden Shogun. I could never bring myself to accept her past actions, no matter what her reasoning may have been.
Kokumi's voice lines, I think, are the crux of the issue.
Watatsumi Island has once again returned to normal life. It has never been my intent to scrutinize the rights and wrongs of the Shogun's actions, even to this day.
Never your intent to scrutinize, huh? Alright, bro. Look, I think Kazuha also harbors resentment.
I've asked myself this question many times since leaving Inazuma. Do I simply resent the Raiden Shogun because of what happened in that duel? Because of the lethal stroke she dealt my dear friend? I've thought about this a good long time. And I believe the answer is no. My friend died an honorable death in that duel, and the Shogun was not unjustified in her conduct. My dissatisfaction with her has its roots in the Vision Hunt decree. No one has the right to rob another of their hopes and dreams. Not even a god.
So I mean, you know, it exists in some places. The only relationships, you know, I think people seem to resent, I suppose, are the ones, you know, anyone who knows the doctors. Hey, they hate that nigga, bro. Danes live against the gods and the sinners, and finally, Nerva lets in the sovereigns versus the heavenly principles. It's these voice lines that fuel me. Dainsleif stating he'll get retribution against those fucking sinners.
The wise Roptatir, the visionary Vedderfolnir, Gold Rhindaughter, the foul Sertologi, and Rehir of Solnari, Rerir. No matter how eroded my memory may become, I will never forget their names. One day, I shall have my vengeance.
Arlecchino stating she'd like to kill the doctor.
When I first took over the House of the Hearth, he proposed a number of plans for us to work together. He wanted me to send any rejects to him. He planned to experiment on them and then share the results with me. I heard that he and the previous knave had quite the professional rapport in that regard. All I can say is that if he weren't one of my fellow harbingers, I would have expedited their happy little reunion long ago.
Nervalet stating the gods must pay in blood.
The time that I have spent living among the citizens of Fontaine and traveling with you has transformed my views. Even though before this I had pardoned the sins of humanity long ago, I can promise you that my future judgments will not cause any harm to the common folk. That being said, my grievances with the usurpers have yet to be settled. They owe a debt of blood that shall not be forgotten.
This is good. This is very good. Now, the reason I included the heavenly principles against the sovereigns as a valid reason for hate is because it makes sense. They don't hate the system. Well, they do, but, you know, more so, they hate the individual. They hate the primordial one, a progenitor god hailing from beyond the stars, because it came from another world, kicked their motherfucking asses all over Teyvat, and took the world from them. That's why they hate him. Now, why is hate important? Because not only does it give depth to a story, it's relatable. We all hate someone. Yes, you do. You hate someone, and that's okay. You know what's not okay? Someone who doesn't hate someone. If I saw a member of fucking Al-Qaeda playing with one of my kids, it's go time, motherfucker! Well, first I'd make sure his jacket doesn't look too, overly puffy, but then it's go time. Teyvat's resident terror member Tartaglia playing with some kids, and seemingly it's all good, because we don't hate. My friends, I think we all need to let the hate flow through us.